Hi, my name is Vanessa Quigley. I'm co-founder and Chatbooker-in-Chief at Chatbooks, and I am an outlier.
Welcome to Outlier on Air with Ever Gonzalez, the show where we interview the founders, disruptors, and mavens of the world. Learn how grit, failure, and success are all a part of the entrepreneurial journey.
Hey everybody, welcome to Outlier on Air, the podcast where we interview founders, disruptors, and mavens. As always, I'm your host, Ever Gonzalez. On today's episode, we have Vanessa Quigley. She's a co-founder of Chatbooks. Vanessa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I love that word maven.
Yeah?
I hope you're referring to me.
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to be a maven.
Do you consider yourself a maven? I can see that.
Yeah, totally.
Good. Then you're in the right place, right? And our audience is in the right place to be here listening to you. So we're excited to have you. Before we really get started, though, tell us where you're calling us from right now.
I am in our Chatbooks headquarters located in Provo, Utah.
Provo, Utah. A lot of noise coming out of Provo when it comes to entrepreneurship and startups. What's the vibe there right now? And what do you like about it? What are some of the challenges of doing business out of there, if any?
The vibe is electric, I think. There is a real vibrant startup community here. And we moved here 3 years ago specifically to start this company. We were living in Florida at the time in a little beach town called Satellite Beach, which I loved, and I was ready to spend the rest of my days there. But we knew we wanted to build a business, and we needed a lot of smart and affordable talent. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to, do a business that catered to families, and family is a big focus here in Utah. And we also knew that social media marketing and influencers were going to play a role in our marketing. And Utah is kind of the hotbed for mommy bloggers, which I thought was so interesting. And turns out they did play a big role in getting us off the ground. Utah has been really one of the key ingredients to our success, the startup community here.
With the cost of living and then just a very family focused type of a state, Provo especially, it's great, right? A lot of good people out there and a lot of good companies, a lot of the community there with VCs and investors and just entrepreneurs in general is great, like you described. But are there any drawbacks? Anything that kind of, I don't know. I mean, we're not Silicon Valley, not that we're trying to be, but is there anything that you struggle because of Provo?
I'm going to say no.
Really?
Honestly, I feel like there are so many benefits to being here. I think initially we worried, when we were getting ready to raise our Series B, that we might not be able to do it here. We were lucky enough to raise our Series A. And we took a lot of meetings in San Francisco for Series B, but Utah came through for us, and we have a local company, Aries Capital, who led that round. And we are super proud to be fully funded by Utah firms. And we have nothing but good things to say about Utah. Plus, you get these amazing, gorgeous mountains and the best snow on earth. What's not to like?
That's right. It's a win-win. It sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Well, we want to kind of, for our audience, we want to get to know you, your history, what you've done in the past, obviously what you're doing now, and we just kind of want to hear about your entrepreneurial journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly of all of it. So, with that being said, let's start off right off. Let's talk about Chatbooks. What is it, and how does it work?
Chatbooks are a subscription-based photo book company. Super easy, super affordable. We built it so that it would even be automatic. We have an app for iPhone and Android as well as a web app. And we believe that it's important for us to hold on to what matters, and that what matters are our memories. And I found that my memories were all stuck in my phone or on social media. And so I wasn't enjoying them. And honestly, when my phone would run out of space, I would start deleting them. And that is a real tragedy. I'm the mother of 7 kids. And when I had 1 and 2 and 3 kids and life was a little slower pace. And, back in those days, we were using film photography. I was an avid scrapbooker. I really felt like it was an important job as a mom to document our family's life and our stories. And I was pretty good at doing it. But then as more kids came along and life got busier, and honestly, as the digital revolution came and I started just taking only digital photos and quit printing them, I realized one day when my youngest was 5 that I didn't have a single printed photo for him other than a couple photos that his preschool teacher had taken throughout the year and given him.
I think there are a lot of parents that can relate to that for sure.
Well, yeah, that's what we've built our whole business so far on that, on that very fact. Yeah, I wasn't the only one. I was super frustrated in a moment. And yeah, my husband has been a serial entrepreneur and was working on a project that really wasn't gaining any traction, but was also in this space of family memories. And luckily, he took my idea and ran with it, and the rest is history.
And so now let's talk about the details, right? So is it just Instagram, by the way?
We started off with just Instagram. Yeah, because in that moment when I realized, man, I have nothing to show for this child's life, I realized that I had been using Instagram for the last 4 or 5 years, primarily just to share with friends and family. We've moved all over the country and the world, and I liked sharing photos to feel connected to my friends and family. But they were just stuck on my phone and in the cloud. And I thought if I could just print my Instagram, that would be better than nothing. It's not, comprehensive of all the memories that I would want to hold on to, but it was something, and it was super easy to build a utility that we started off as a utility that we could just, you could log into your Instagram, pull in all of your data, and spit out a book. And that was really exciting for me and really exciting for a lot of customers who had never even knew what it felt like to hold on to an actual photo, much less a photo book. But then it didn't take me long to realize, well, there are more photos that aren't on social media that I really want in my books. And so we added other photo sources, and now you can pretty much take a photo from anywhere to put in your photo books. But to make it the most automatic, where you do literally nothing, you can set it up and then never open the app again. For our users who post a lot to Instagram, it's magic.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a sec before we move on. In the beginning, and maybe still, it was right a small fee for like, what was it, 50, 60 pictures. Once you hit that mark, automatically you would do your magic, right? And then I would get a book in the mail.
Yeah. So you would set up your series, you would connect your photo source. If that was Instagram, you would just log into your Instagram, and then Chatbooks would pull in every picture that you had posted since the beginning of your account, along with the caption. And we would organize them chronologically, or we still do this, organize them chronologically in volumes of 60-page volumes. And we would print a volume number and a date range. And yeah, for every 60 photos that you've posted or you continue to post, we generate a new album. And we give you 3 days. We send an email saying that your volume is ready. And that gives our users a chance to go in and make any changes if they want to. They could change the cover photo or change captions or add or delete a photo. But a surprisingly big amount of our users, they do nothing. It's like a sweet little surprise. The magazine of their life just appears in their mailbox. And for only $8 for a soft cover book with free shipping, it's less than the price of lunch. And it's honestly, it's a no-brainer.
And you can keep it forever, basically, right? And you can keep all your kids happy because they have pictures of themselves.
Yeah. And if the dog eats it, we can print another one for $8. It's just... it was a product and a model that resonated with a lot of people.
How long did you focus on when it was just Instagram, right? I mean, you're doing a few other things that we'll get into here in just a sec, but when it was just Instagram, what was that time span?
Oh, it was only like a matter of a couple of months before I'm talking to my dev team saying, we need another photo source here. I need more pictures. And I think it was, it was a year. We went to a convention, a conference here somewhere, and we here in Utah, and we were talking to a bunch of the people that were in attendance, and they were like, "Oh, Chatbooks is such a great idea, but I'm not on Instagram." And that's when I realized, like, we have it's not just Instagram, and that's when we realized that we needed to really pivot our marketing and make it clear that It's not just, this isn't a product just for people who use Instagram. Although that's how we got our start. And we really pushed that just because, people who had been posting for years, right off the bat, we could sell them 5 to 10 books, which was huge for us because we had no money. We needed to be generating some cash. And because our price point is so low,
Sure.
we deliberately set a price point that we barely make anything. Because I felt like one of the barriers for people in making photo books was that some of the other companies out there that you can make a photo book for, you can do all this work, literally weeks of work, and then the price tag is $100. And you just you can't pull the trigger because it's not perfect enough. And it's just, my budget doesn't allow for that. So I was really adamant that the price had to be so low that you didn't have to think about it. So, that's why starting with Instagram and having, being able to sell 5 to 10 books right off the bat was really key for us. But then, we need to convert a lot more customers and realize that not everyone shares their whole life on Instagram. So, we launched a video last fall that really was pushing the fact that it's not just Instagram, that you can do photos from anywhere.
So literally Facebook, anything else that I want, can I just do a book with my, the pictures that I have just on my computer that I haven't shared on social media?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, Facebook and Instagram are the social media sources that we connect with right now. Google Photos, anything from your camera roll or from your computer if you're working from the web. Those are the designated photo sources right now.
We have pictures up online now that of your books, right? And so I've seen them soft cover, smaller, right? Do you offer anything different now?
Well, we started with 6x6 books, and right now we just offer 6x6, and that decision was guided by the fact that, we were going to use Instagram as a photo source. And in the early days of Instagram, everyone loved the filters. And it was when I look back at my early Instagram posts, they were very heavily filtered. But when you apply those filters, it gives your picture this cool vibe, but it also degrades the quality of the picture quite a bit. And so to print those early Instagram photos at that would look nice, we were kind of restrained to that smaller size. So that kind of guided the size, also trying to keep the product affordable. But now the Instagram, they've improved and the resolution is a lot better on those Instagram posts. And we found that so many of our customers are making custom books from photos right from their camera roll or from their computer. We actually do have a bigger book that we're hoping to launch this year. I've got a couple prototypes on my desk.
Awesome.
And we're excited to iron out the details of that and figure out what price makes it affordable enough for customers, but doable for us to produce. But that's one of the exciting things I would like to announce. Bigger books, 8x8.
8x8. Wow.
Yeah. So it's not giant. I know. I would love to do a 12x12 one day, maybe someday, but the 8x8, it's a dramatic difference. When you hold them side by side, they'll be available for custom books, and I'm pretty excited about it.
I like all of this. It's a simple idea, right? It's a winning idea, and so it seems to obviously you're generating a lot of interest. You received a lot of traction, that kind of stuff, and like you mentioned, you're in a perfect spot working out of Provo. Other than maybe sales, what has been the most difficult part of all of this? Right, there must have been some challenges, some of the things that you struggled with, maybe early on or even now. What are some of those things?
I would say most of our struggles happened very, very early on, really actually before the first iteration before Chatbooks became Chatbooks, because I know some people think that we're something of an overnight success, but we were actually years in the trenches.
Years, really?
Working on an idea to solve the problem that we have with our family memories, another solution to safeguard, organize, and enjoy our memories that was based in the cloud. And this was, I wasn't personally heavily involved other than the fact that my husband was not taking a salary and we were,
that makes you all in, right?
This idea. That makes me involved. We were very personally invested in this, but my husband had an experience at his grandfather's funeral that made us realize that there are precious memories, photos, videos, audio clips out there that our kids might never see if we don't figure out a way to make them accessible. And And at the time, he was pretty convinced that print was dead. That everything needed to be in the cloud. We were trying to simplify, and, we didn't need to clutter up our lives with more stuff to hold on to, that everything was going to be safeguarded and organized and easily accessible in the cloud. And it made a lot of sense, but, there was still part of me that, like, I still cling on to the scrapbooks that I used to make, and I want something to hold on to. And after, 3 years of spending a lot of money and a lot of time developing basically what was enterprise software for families that turns out nobody was really interested in. It was too much work. It was one of those things that people would say, oh, I should really be doing that. But honestly, for all you entrepreneurs out there, if you hear those words, I should, stop. Yikes. Bad idea. Should is not I will. And so that moment I had where I realized, you know what, dang it, all I want is a book with my photos. Let's cut all this crap out and let's figure out the easiest way to do that. After 3 years of frustration, we finally, started to gain some traction. So I think that the hardest thing was like holding on to that vision, that conviction that we had, that memories are important. But the first model, the first iteration, it was called Folk Story, and then it was called Just Family. Those were based on the idea that print was dead, but turns out we were wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thing for entrepreneurs, is to know when to be steadfast in their idea and their convictions, and when to listen to good feedback. And, it's 2020 vision in hindsight. Like, we did hear people saying that they wanted books, and I keep saying we, but I'm really talking about my husband, because I told him I wanted books back in the day. I didn't really push the issue. This is kind of like his thing. I don't know, babe. I would really like a book. Is there any way you can print all this stuff? But honestly, after 3 years, and I'm the one who manages all of our personal finances, and I saw our bank account go lower and lower and lower. And finally, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this experiment. Print a book. I know he's really grateful that I finally spoke up. And so, yeah, I think all of the hard stuff, most of the hard stuff is behind us. We have new challenges now that we've raised this Series B round. Yeah. We've got a lot of money to really grow our team. There are
good challenges, though, right?
What was that?
Those are good challenges.
Oh, yeah, good challenges, but really different. Whereas, we were so product focused in the beginning, Nate and I as the co-founders, and that's what we love. Now, we have to spend a lot of time building the team and hiring and stuff like that. So those are new challenges that we're having to adjust. We're just trying to keep our hands in the product team too. But yeah, we're learning new things as we are growing and scaling, but it's all very exciting.
How big is your team right now? What's it going to look like at the end of the year?
We're about at 114 right now.
Really? That many?
Yeah. Well, we only have about 40 something that are full-time or full-time equivalents. We have a huge, what we call our mom force. It's our customer support team. And it's about 70 stay-at-home moms, primarily stay-at-home moms, who work from home on times that are convenient for them. So that takes us up to the higher numbers, but they don't work in office. But we started off in this office that we're at in Provo. When we first started, it was literally like 2 desks in the corner, and we shared the space with 2 other companies. And we've since taken over the whole floor. And right now, before I jumped on this call with you, I was looking at the renderings of the new space that we're hoping to move into this summer. Because
look at you guys, good for you.
We're on a little bit of a hiring spree. I don't think we're not going to have tons of people in our main office, just because we don't have a sales force. But we are hiring analysts and developers and designers and marketers. And I think with this new space we're looking at, we're hoping to fill that out. Maybe 20, 30 more hires. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes.
I want to talk about your husband here in just a second and what it's like working with him. But, you're talking about new space and new hires and running this company or helping run this company and all that good stuff. Your background, though, it has not that I noticed, nothing to do with business, really.
Absolutely nothing to do with business.
You were opera singer. You were a dancer,
yes.
right?
Well, I was an aspiring opera singer. As a teenager, I danced at Walt Disney World. I grew up in
Nice.
Orlando and worked at Disney and entertainment. And I studied vocal performance and pedagogy here at BYU for college. And I really wanted to be a performer. But I also graduated with a baby. My husband and I got married when we were still in college, and yeah, we had a baby before we graduated. So that kind of changed my plans of traveling the world
Sure.
and building my operatic career. But I did a pretty good job juggling motherhood with 7 kids and an on again, off again, singing gigs. But yeah, I had no experience in business. There was one class as a singing major that we were required to take that taught us the business of running a vocal studio, because honestly, most aspiring opera singers end up having to teach voice and making
Really?
money that way.
Uh-huh.
But I blew the whole thing off. I could care less. I didn't have any anticipations of having to run a studio, and I had no interest in the business side of it. So yeah, I'm pretty much learning everything from scratch. But my husband, he's a Harvard MBA. He has a whole career working in business. He's been my tutor on the side. And I found that you can learn a lot from Google too.
Yeah.
I've Googled a lot
Nice.
most of what I've learned has been through Google. And
You're being a little bit humble about the suit, right? Obviously, the husband, Harvard MBA helps. Some of this other things that you've done, but I mean, you are a big part of this company, right? I mean, you've received a lot of recognition. You're doing a lot of things yourself. Does that come easy to you now? Do you enjoy it as much as you, I don't know, thought you would? What's that like, the day-to-day of running a business right now?
Oh, it is so fun. I actually love it. And when I first decided in the beginning, I kind of gave Nate the idea, print easy photo books, go do it. And I watched him do it for a couple of months. And I had to be more involved. I had ideas, I had opinions. But my youngest was just getting ready to start first grade, which meant all of my kids were gone all day long. And I had fantasized about that moment for so long. And it didn't involve running a business. It was more like take up yoga, maybe go get my master's, that I resisted the urge to join the team, but it just looked like so much fun. And I finally just said, okay, I'm coming. And I gave myself a title, Chatbooker-in-Chief, total made up title, because I don't really have any credentials for anything else. But I jumped in and I started in marketing and PR and just telling our story and talking to our customers and helping guide product development. And it is seriously intoxicating and addicting. The only problem was my kids come home from school at 3 o'clock. And the hardest part for me is to be home when they get home, because I get sucked into the work. And
I bet.
And our office, I'm lucky our office is just 5 minutes away from our home. And so I think to the very last minute, I'm like, okay, they're walking home from school now. I've got 10 more minutes. I can crank out here and I can be there when they walk in the door. That's really the hard part is I want to be in both places. So I have to be really disciplined, and so that I can give both very important endeavors the attention they deserve.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was going to ask, and I just realized here as we're talking that we only ask women this question, which might be unfair or whatever, but it is what it is sometimes. How do you balance both, right? Motherhood, because you still have young kids at home, and running this business with so many employees and doing some great things.
It is funny. Only women get asked this question. And I know a lot of women get bent out of shape about it, but it's a legit question. I mean, for me, I get it. Like I was not an aspiring, full-time businesswoman. Family was most important to me. I put aside my ambitions to be a professional opera singer because I wanted to raise my family, and it came earlier than I thought it was going to. No, it's a real valid question. And I think for me, it's easier because my husband is my partner in business and my partner in life. And so I feel like we're not exactly equally yoked because he does work full time in the office and I try to be home when the kids get home. But there's a sense that we're not trying to balance anything. This is just, we're working together, and this is our life's work. Our family and our business is how we support our family. And it's all one beautiful mess. We just work at together. And honestly, as an entrepreneur, there's no line between work and family life. It just all melds together. And so we quit trying to make a balance, and I just do the best I can.
That's a great answer. Good for you. It seems like it's working too, right? Now,
Sometimes I have to admit, sometimes I do fantasize about my old life where I would send my kids off to school and do whatever I wanted.
Whatever you
Maybe
wanted.
get back in bed and watch Netflix once in a while, but not very often. I'm having so much fun.
We've had other entrepreneur couples on the show that are working together, building companies, doing that kind of thing. And so we've had some good stories, and we've had some bad stories, right? What's it like working with your husband, and then coming home with your husband and all that good stuff? Is it difficult for you? Are there things that you do differently, right? We had someone say that at dinner and afterward, they don't talk about the business at all. What's it like at your home, and actually at the office as well with your husband?
Yeah. Well, I never thought that this would work out. And Nate had suggested through the years of our marriage that, it'd be so fun to start a business together. But I I didn't even want to fantasize about business plans. I had no interest. He's always been the president or the CEO of the companies that he's been working at. And so he was very clearly the boss, and I was very clearly the boss at my house. We're both the oldest children in our family. I just didn't see how it would work. Plus I had no interest in business. All of his, business ideas I thought were lame. Not interesting to me. Maybe not lame, but just not interesting to me. But when I was hesitant and not sure how it would pan out. But it turns out that after being married for 20 years and having 7 kids together, very little frustrates us. We've dealt with our share of disagreements, and it's actually been so awesome. In fact, I feel closer to him now than I ever have. We were sitting in a board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it was actually the first one that I had been in for the full thing. And I watched him do his whole spiel, and I thought, man, this is what he's been doing our whole marriage. And I had no idea. I've never seen him in action like this before. Awesome. And afterwards, I'm like, honey, were those years so lonely when you had no one to talk about? I had no idea what you were doing. So my level of respect for what he's done in his career is just gone up tremendously. And we honestly have a lot more to talk about. I like the idea of maybe deciding we're not going to have our phones out at the dinner table. Mm-hmm. Let's not talk about it. Let's have some time where we don't talk about work, because again, the entrepreneurial life, it's always work all the time. You always have to be on. Things are moving so fast and changing. But it's bonded us together in a very unique way. And it's been really fun for me. And I think really fun for our kids too, to witness and watch us working together in this way.
I love it. Keep up the good work. Now, I want to kind of go a little bit further into your history. You mentioned you grew up in Florida. You have 11 brothers and sisters.
Yes.
And you owned a petting zoo. The family owned a petting zoo.
Yeah. Yeah. When I remember I was in first grade when we moved out into the country, because we had at that point 8 kids or something. And we hadn't been living in that house very long. We were on 5 acres, and my dad came home. He was a lawyer. He came home in his suit and tie with a goat. And that was the beginning. That was his little hobby. He would scour the classifieds, and he built up a little petting zoo for our family, mostly for amusement. We actually had quite a few school field trips where the local elementary school would come over to see our little farm. And we got a little bit older. He added a milking cow, because all my teenage brothers, they would drink gallons and gallons of milk. And he thought this would be a good way to teach us how to work hard, which, trust me, milking a cow in Florida in the summer is miserable and hard.
I can't imagine.
We all took our turns doing that too. That was kind of just a fun thing for my dad and something to keep us busy. But my older brothers, they still live in Florida. And my oldest brother actually is a lawyer. He works with my dad at his law firm now. But my other brothers help run a family business, which is a fully legit operational and operating petting. They don't really call it a petting zoo. It's a wild animal park. It's called Wild Florida. They do airboat rides on the headwaters of the Everglades there in Orlando and St. Cloud. And they have exotic and local animals. And it's really an impressive place. And all of that stems out of that first goat that Dad brought home.
So it's kind of in your blood, right? This entrepreneurial vibe that you have and the things that you're doing.
for sure. And in fact, my parents are getting ready to move, and all of the kids assembled at the house to help pack up boxes and help them sort through their things. And I found one of my mom's old journals. My mom, who raised 12 kids, I found this entry in her journal where she was pregnant with her ninth. And there's this entry in her journal about getting together with her friend Barbara because they were getting ready to launch this business. They had written a business plan. They were so excited about it. They knew it was going to work. And I thought, how on earth could she have been thinking about starting a business with, soon to be 9 kids? But part of me kind of gets it too.
Yeah, I was going to say, gee, I wonder where you get that from, right?
Yeah, it's nice to have, a little. I think for her, it was all just fantasy. That business never really happened, but that was her way of escaping the chaos and the craziness, is just fantasizing business plans and dreaming up this other world. And I think it's fun for her to see Nate and I doing that together. And then my other brothers, we have a very entrepreneurial family.
Yeah, doing some research on obviously your story. It's just we're big fans of the craziness that was growing up at a petting zoo and all your brothers and sisters, and then kind of transitioning into this. That's like you need to be out there telling your story a whole lot more. It's very inspiring, right? And it has the fun stuff, just the making it work type of a story as well. So congratulations with all the things that you're doing. Like I mentioned before, we're big fans.
Well, thank you. It's starting a business is so hard, and there's so many skills that are required. And that's what's so great about this partnership with my husband and I as co-founders. And we actually have a technical co-founder, because we were like the trifecta, right? Nate is the financial managerial whiz. Steve, our technical co-founder, he's got the tech thing locked down. I'm the storyteller. So, it's, for people who are thinking about going to business, my best advice is not to go alone. Find good founders, recognize what your strengths are, pull in other strengths, people that you know and love and, you can work with. That's been really key to our success. So I hope that I don't ever have to be accountable for all the financial and operational and technical aspects of what we're doing. I try to learn as much as I can so that I can speak about it when I'm out there telling our story. But this is what I love most is telling, who we are and how we got started and why everyone should be doing Chatbooks.
Well, you're doing a great job with that. And so now last 3 or 4 questions as we wrap this up real quick. In 3 years, what is all of this going to look like for you?
That is a very good question. Our goal, our mission here at Chatbooks is to strengthen relationships, to strengthen families, to help people hold on to what really matters. And that can be pretty broad. Families are busier now than they ever have been. And so we kind of have a vision for a whole line of products and services that will help us accomplish those goals. And what that exactly looks like, we're not 100% sure, but we've drawn up some interesting futures that might become a reality. And, entrepreneurship is all about testing and trying new things. And sometimes the thing you thought was going to work, you end up with something exactly opposite. And that's kind of what's so intoxicating about this whole thing, is just there is the unseen future, but we just keep asking questions and trying new things, and we'll see what happens. But we hope to build a brand that has longevity, but also a company that is that's really big.
That's really big. Good.
That way, we're kind of in this for the long haul. So
good. Congratulations. Now, with I think we talked about it earlier. Our audience, a lot of young entrepreneurs in the trenches, trying to make it happen, doing things that to grow their own little empires as well. And also a big portion of them are 9-to-5 corporate guys and gals that are dreaming about the day when they have their own entrepreneurial venture as well. For those people, for our audience in general, what kind of advice do you have for them right now? Something they can take into their own lives and kind of get to the next level.
Well, I really feel like most people, maybe everyone, has a desire in them somewhere to to make their mark, to start something, to do something. And sometimes we're worried that we're not qualified enough or we don't have the resources that we need. And so we stifle that. My sisters are a great example of this. I have two of my little sisters. They both have 4 little kids. And we grew up in Florida, literally living in our bathing suits. Like sometimes we would go to church and before we got home, our church clothes were off and we had our bathing suits on. We wore them all the time. And as we got older and they had children, they were constantly complaining about it's so hard to find a bathing suit that suits my needs. And literally it was like a broken record. And one day we were all at the beach together and finally they were like, let's just do it. I know there's a bathing suit out. I can make a bathing suit that I want, that other people would want. Who cares if we've got these 8 crazy little kids? Let's just do it. Who cares if we have no experience in manufacturing or marketing or anything? One of them was a hairdresser. The other one got married right out of high school, like literally no experience doing anything but mothering. We want to do this. We're going to figure this out. And I am so proud of them. They've built a business that is continuing to grow. They actually were on Shark Tank. That was kind of huge for them. And actually I was on Shark Tank with them. I was one of their models. It's a swimsuit company geared towards moms. So all 5 of us girls, all the sisters, we're all moms. And so we were all models for them on the show. But watching them go from literally nothing to something and how it's been really hard for them, but it's been so fun and I'm so proud of them. So, I guess my advice is if there's something that you really, really want to do, there's a way to do it. And there's no right way to be an entrepreneur. And, I certainly felt like I wasn't qualified, but like I mentioned before, partnering with co-founders that had skills that I lacked or, reaching out to, finding a mentor that can help you. There is a way to do it. You just have to do it in your own way. Just be you.
I love it. No right way to do entrepreneurship. Isn't that the truth, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Great advice. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, for your words of wisdom, for just being open about your story and the things that you've done and the things that you're doing, and obviously the things that you have planned for the future. This was a lot of fun. We really appreciated it. And as we kind of sign off, where can we find you online? Those who want to connect with you, that maybe want to check out the company a little bit more, tell us where we can find you.
Well, we're chatbooks.com. That's our website. It's also, you can get into your account and make chatbooks right there. We're Chatbooks on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And I'm Vanessa Quigley, pretty much across the board as well.
Perfect. Outliers, you can go to outliermagazine.co. That's outliermagazine.co. First of all, subscribe to the podcast, rate, review it, share it with your friends. But there we're going to have Vanessa's links to the website, social media accounts. Feel free to connect with her, with the company. Check them out. They're doing some amazing things. Vanessa, again, this was amazing. We really appreciate it. And we'll definitely be in touch.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Outliers, we'll talk to you tomorrow.